Ethan strutted through the office, his shiny shoes clicking on the polished floor. At 26, he was the youngest manager anyone could remember. He'd landed the promotion just 3 months ago, and it had gone straight to his head. Ethan believed he was smarter, faster, and all around better than everyone else. He surveyed his domain with a critical eye. A crooked picture frame here, a misplaced stapler there, minor offenses that, in Ethan's mind, warranted a stern lecture. He thrived on pointing out flaws, real or imagined. Empathy was a foreign concept to him. In his world, success was a solo climb, and those below were simply rungs on the ladder. His ego was as inflated as a parade balloon. He spent hours perfecting his appearance, ensuring his hair was impeccably styled and his suit perfectly pressed. He saw himself as a visionary, a game-changer, a titan of industry in the making. The truth was, Ethan's ideas were often rehashed concepts presented with excessive confidence. His leadership style was more bullying than guiding. He saw his employees not as people with lives and feelings, but as tools to achieve his ambitions. He treated everyone with a dismissive air, from the seasoned accountants to the interns fresh out of college. He was, in short, a walking, talking example of youthful arrogance. He was about to get a big lesson in humility. In stark contrast to Ethan's boisterous presence was Mr. Thompson, the building's janitor. He was a man of few words, his movements deliberate and quiet. His face, etched with wrinkles, told stories of a life well lived, though the details remained a mystery to most. He always wore a faded blue uniform, meticulously clean and pressed, a subtle echo of a different kind of uniform from long ago. Mr. Thompson approached his work with a quiet dignity. He didn't rush or complain, even when faced with the messiest of spills. He took pride in ensuring the office was clean and safe for everyone. He was always the first to arrive and the last to leave, his dedication unwavering. He possessed an old-world courtesy, always offering a polite nod or a gentle smile. He seemed content with his simple life, finding satisfaction in the order and cleanliness he brought to the workplace. There was a certain aura about him, a quiet strength that hinted at a past far more significant than his current role suggested. His eyes, though aged, held a spark of intelligence and a depth of experience that belied his humble demeanor. He moved with a precision and efficiency that suggested years of training, his hands steady and capable. Few suspected the secrets he held within. Ethan was on his way to a very important meeting, or at least that's what he told everyone. He rounded the corner near the water cooler and spotted Mr. Thompson meticulously scrubbing a spill of coffee. Most wouldn't have given it a second thought, but Ethan saw an opportunity to assert his authority. The coffee stain was nearly gone, but Mr. Thompson was carefully wiping down the area, making sure no sticky residue remained. Ethan stopped, tapping his foot impatiently. "Thompson," he barked, his voice echoing in the hallway. Mr. Thompson looked up, his expression calm. "Good morning, Mr. Davis," he said politely. "What do you think you're doing?" Ethan demanded, ignoring the greeting. "That spill should have been cleaned up ages ago. People have places to be, you know." Mr. Thompson calmly explained, "I'm just making sure it's completely clean, sir. Wouldn't want anyone to slip and fall." Ethan scoffed. "Slipping and falling? Please. It's a coffee spill, not an oil slick. You're wasting company time, Thompson. Time is money, you know. At this rate, it will take you hours to clean the entire floor." He emphasized the hours as if it was an incredibly long time. The young manager watched the janitor with a critical eye. Ethan was convinced that this man was taking his time simply to spite him. Mr. Thompson, despite Ethan's sharp tone, maintained his composure. He stood tall, his eyes meeting Ethan's without flinching. "I understand your concern, Mr. Davis," he said, his voice steady and calm, "but safety is paramount. A wet floor can be a serious hazard, and I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt." He spoke slowly and clearly, as if explaining something to a child. Ethan's face flushed with irritation. Mr. Thompson's reasonable explanation only fueled his anger. He saw it as a challenge to his authority, a subtle form of defiance. "Safety? Seriously? It's a few drops of coffee. Are you suggesting I don't care about safety? He snapped, his voice rising in pitch. Not at all, sir, Mr. Thompson replied, his voice remaining even. I'm simply stating the importance of ensuring the area is completely dry to prevent accidents. He gave a small, respectful nod. Ethan found Mr. Thompson's calm demeanor infuriating. He wanted an argument, a display of subservience, something to validate his perceived superiority. Mr. Thompson's quiet professionalism only served to highlight Ethan's own boorish behavior. The fact that the older man wouldn't rise to the bait made Ethan's blood boil. It was as if Mr. Thompson was politely, but firmly, refusing to acknowledge Ethan's self-importance. Ethan, unable to let the matter drop, pressed on with his verbal assault. Look, Thompson, he sneered, I appreciate that you're thorough. But maybe it's time to admit that this job is a little beyond you. Perhaps you're getting a bit old for this sort of thing. He gestured vaguely at Mr. Thompson's hands. Maybe you should consider retirement. Let some younger blood take over. He continued, his voice dripping with condescension, honestly, I'm surprised you can even see the stain with those old eyes of yours. Maybe we should get you a magnifying glass. Ethan chuckled at his own wit, completely oblivious to the depth of the man he was addressing. He added, the company isn't running a charity, you know? We need people who can keep up. If you can't handle a simple coffee spill, how can we trust you with anything else? Maybe you should try cleaning something smaller, like a dollhouse. He crossed his arms, a smug expression on his face. He thought he was being clever, putting the older man in his place. He had no idea just how wrong he was, or how quickly the tables were about to turn. He was completely unaware of the strength and resilience that lay hidden beneath Mr. Thompson's quiet demeanor. Suddenly, the shrill shriek of the fire alarm cut through Ethan's tirade. A high-pitched, piercing sound that instantly silenced him. A split second later, thick, acrid smoke began to billow from under the door of a nearby office. Panic erupted. People screamed and scrambled, knocking over chairs and tripping over each other in their haste to escape. The air filled with the smell of burning plastic and the crackling sound of flames. The carefully maintained order of the office dissolved into chaos in an instant. The fire, sparked by faulty wiring in an overloaded outlet, was spreading quickly. Papers and office supplies ignited, feeding the flames. The heat intensified rapidly, pushing the smoke further into the hallway. The office that was once filled with the quiet hum of computers and the tapping of keyboards was now a roaring inferno. Ethan's smug expression vanished, replaced by wide-eyed fear. His carefully constructed image of competence crumbled as the reality of the situation crashed down upon him. The meeting he was so eager to attend was instantly forgotten. All that mattered now was getting out alive. The emergency had begun. The scene was pure pandemonium. People were shoving and pushing, desperate to escape the growing danger. The fire alarm blared incessantly, adding to the confusion. Ethan, who just moments before had been lecturing Mr. Thompson on efficiency, was now a prime example of utter disorganization. He stumbled backward, his eyes darting around wildly. He tripped over a chair, narrowly avoiding a fall. He pushed past colleagues, his earlier pretense of authority completely gone. He was no longer the confident manager, he was just another terrified employee, driven by instinct. His carefully crafted suit was now crumpled and smudged with soot. His perfectly styled hair was disheveled. He shouted incoherently, adding to the noise and confusion. He looked around for guidance, but found none. His supposed leadership skills were nowhere to be seen. Ethan's true colors were on full display. He was completely unprepared to handle a crisis. He had no plan, no strategy, no ability to calm the terrified employees around him. He was simply adding to the chaos, his frantic behavior hindering rather than helping the evacuation. He was among the most panicked of the panicking people. Amidst the chaos, a figure of calm emerged. Mr. Thompson, who just moments ago had been the target of Ethan's scorn, moved with surprising speed and decisive action. His demeanor transformed, the quiet janitor was gone, replaced by a man of authority and purpose. He raised his voice, his tone firm and commanding, cutting through the screams and shouts. Everyone, calm down. Stay low to the ground. Follow me. His voice, though not loud, carried an unmistakable air of command. He knew the building layout intimately, every hallway, every emergency exit, every fire extinguisher location. He directed people with precision, guiding them away from the flames and towards safety. He pointed out alternative escape routes, ensuring that everyone had a clear path to follow. He moved quickly, but deliberately, checking each room to ensure no one was left behind. He helped those who were struggling, offering a steady hand and words of encouragement. He was a beacon of hope in the midst of the chaos, a symbol of competence and courage. His actions demonstrated a level of knowledge and skill that was completely unexpected. He was in his element, taking charge and saving lives. ******. Flashback sequence. The jungle air was thick with humidity and the smell of diesel fuel. A younger Mr. Thompson, then Sergeant Thompson, barked orders into a radio, his face grim but determined. He was surrounded by his men, their faces smeared with camouflage paint, their eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and resolve. An explosion rocked the ground nearby, sending dirt and debris flying. Sergeant Thompson didn't flinch. He calmly assessed the situation, his mind racing, calculating the best course of action. He had been in countless dangerous situations before, and he knew how to keep his men alive. He was a decorated war hero, a veteran of numerous battles. He had earned medals for bravery, strategic thinking, and expertise in handling dangerous situations. He had defused bombs, led daring rescues, and single-handedly held off enemy advances. He was a master strategist, able to anticipate his opponent's moves and plan accordingly. He was a skilled marksman, able to hit a target from hundreds of yards away. He was a natural leader, inspiring his men to follow him into even the most dangerous situations. He was the kind of man who could remain calm under pressure, who could think clearly in the face of danger, who could always find a way to win. This was the real Mr. Thompson. *****. Back in the present, with the evacuation underway, Mr. Thompson didn't hesitate. Spotting a fire extinguisher on the wall, he grabbed it with practiced ease. He quickly assessed the situation, identifying the source of the flames and the areas most at risk. He pulled the pin with a swift, decisive motion, aimed the nozzle at the base of the fire, and squeezed the handle. A powerful jet of foam shot out, engulfing the flames. He moved with precision and control, systematically suppressing the fire, preventing it from spreading to other offices. He knew exactly how much foam to use, how to direct the spray, and how to avoid getting too close to the flames. His movements were efficient and economical, reflecting years of training and experience. He worked quickly, but calmly, his focus unwavering. Within minutes, he had contained the fire, extinguishing the most dangerous flames and preventing it from engulfing the entire floor. He had single-handedly averted a potential disaster, his actions a testament to his courage and expertise. He was a true hero, not because he sought recognition, but because it was simply in his nature to protect others. Ethan, huddled against a wall, watched in stunned silence. The gravity of the situation finally sunk in. He had been so focused on his own ambition and self-importance that he had completely failed to recognize the danger, or the potential for heroism in others. He witnessed Mr. Thompson's calm efficiency, his decisive actions, and his unwavering commitment to safety. He saw the respect and gratitude in the eyes of the people Mr. Thompson was guiding to safety. He realized that while he had been busy berating the janitor, Mr. Thompson had been the one truly in control, the one truly leading. A wave of shame washed over him. He remembered his condescending remarks, his dismissive attitude, his blatant disrespect. He realized how foolish he had been, how blind to Mr. Thompson's true character. He understood that true strength wasn't about age or position, but about courage, competence, and compassion. He also recognized his own helplessness. He had been completely useless in the crisis, a liability rather than an asset. He had panicked, adding to the chaos instead of helping to resolve it. He felt a deep sense of inadequacy, a stark contrast to the inflated ego he had carried just moments before. He knew he had a lot to learn. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder and louder as the fire trucks approached. The firefighters arrived quickly, their faces grim and determined. They efficiently connected their hoses and began to spray water on the remaining flames, quickly extinguishing them completely. The fire chief approached Mr. Thompson, his expression serious. "Are you all right, sir? What happened here?" Mr. Thompson calmly explained the situation, detailing how the fire had started and the steps he had taken to contain it. He pointed out the areas that were still smoldering and provided valuable information about the building's layout. The fire chief listened intently, his respect for Mr. Thompson growing with each word. Once the remaining embers were quenched, the chief turned back to Mr. Thompson, extending his hand. "You did a great job, sir," he said sincerely. "Your quick thinking and bravery prevented this from becoming a much bigger disaster. You saved lives today." Other firefighters nodded in agreement, patting Mr. Thompson on the back. He simply nodded back, his expression humble. He didn't do it for the praise. Just then, the building manager, Mrs. Davies, rushed onto the scene, her face etched with concern. She surveyed the damage, her eyes quickly finding Mr. Thompson. "Mr. Thompson! Are you all right?" she exclaimed, hurrying towards him. "I heard about the fire. You were the one who contained it, weren't you?" Mr. Thompson nodded modestly. "Just did what I could." Mrs. Davies beamed, her voice filled with pride. "This man is a hero. Do you all know who this is? This is Sergeant Major Thompson, a decorated war veteran. He served our country with distinction for over 20 years. A hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned to Mr. Thompson, a mixture of awe and disbelief on their faces. Ethan, who was still standing against the wall, felt his jaw drop. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. The janitor he had so callously disrespected was a war hero, a man of immense courage and experience. The revelation struck him like a physical blow. He was stunned. The pieces suddenly clicked into place, explaining the older man's calm demeanor, his air of authority, his unwavering competence. He finally understood. Ethan, his face flushed with shame, slowly made his way through the crowd towards Mr. Thompson. He felt small and insignificant, a stark contrast to the self-assured manager he had been just moments before. The weight of his arrogance and disrespect pressed down on him. He stopped in front of Mr. Thompson, his eyes downcast. He couldn't quite meet the older man's gaze. He stammered, his voice barely a whisper, "Mr. Sergeant Major Thompson, I owe you an apology." He continued, his voice gaining a little strength. I was completely out of line. I had no right to speak to you the way I did. I was arrogant and disrespectful, and I am truly sorry." He paused, struggling to find the right words. "I had no idea about your service, about who you are. But even if I had, there's no excuse for my behavior." He finally looked up, his eyes filled with remorse. "Thank you for saving everyone. Thank you for being a hero. And thank you for showing me what a real leader looks like." He felt relieved to have said those words. Mr. Thompson looked at Ethan, his eyes filled with understanding and a hint of forgiveness. He saw the genuine remorse in the young man's face. He placed a gentle hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Apology accepted, Mr. Davis," he said, his voice kind and sincere. "We all make mistakes. The important thing is that we learn from them." He paused, offering a gentle smile. "Remember, son, respect isn't about age or position. It's about character. And humility is a far greater strength than arrogance. Never judge a book by its cover, because you never know what stories lie within." He continued, "Everyone has a story to tell, and everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. It's not about where someone is in life, but who they are as a person. You have a chance to be a better leader, Ethan. Learn from this. Remember this day." He gave Ethan's shoulder a final squeeze. "Now, let's get this place cleaned up." Mr. Thompson then turned to assist the firefighters, leaving Ethan with his valuable lesson. The older man's act of kindness had a profound effect on Ethan. The fire had been extinguished, but the embers of change had been ignited within Ethan. He spent the rest of the day helping with the cleanup, working alongside his colleagues, treating everyone with newfound respect. He listened to their ideas, valued their opinions, and showed genuine appreciation for their hard work. He made a conscious effort to be more empathetic, to understand their challenges, and to support their goals. He realized that true leadership wasn't about barking orders, but about inspiring and empowering others. He even sought out Mr. Thompson, asking him about his military service, eager to learn from his experiences. He listened intently as Mr. Thompson shared stories of bravery, sacrifice, and leadership, absorbing every word. Ethan's transformation was remarkable. He became a more considerate and thoughtful manager, earning the respect and admiration of his employees. He learned that true success wasn't about climbing the corporate ladder, but about building meaningful relationships and making a positive impact on the lives of others. He never forgot the lesson he learned that day, the lesson taught to him by a humble janitor who was also a war hero. He finally understood that character and humility were far more important than arrogance and position. He was a changed man,